You ever just walk through the park or just going through a house and then all of a sudden you just see this little line through the wall and then you're like, I'm curious. So you go over to it and all of a sudden you just phase through and then you're in this infinite maze of fluorescent lights and yellow walls and bland carpet. Probably not, unless you're watching the movie The Backrooms, which is what we're going to talk about today. Now, I will say at the beginning, I am a little biased on The Backrooms. I am literally wearing the A24 official Backroom shirt, not sponsored, but I've been a fan of The Backrooms on YouTube for a long time. The director of the Backrooms movie actually created this whole universe of Backrooms lore, which is pretty incredible. Highly recommend if you don't know anything about The Backrooms. It actually adds some good context to this movie. But Kane, his name, he's like the youngest director of all time almost, was asked to make a movie of The Backrooms, which The Backrooms is kind of like what it could be if you phase or no clip into a new space, like you phase out of our reality into a different reality. And so the Backrooms movie kind of takes that on the theatrical scale to show you what these rooms kind of are. And I will say from the beginning, this movie is incredible when it comes to the environment and atmosphere of the Backrooms. Now, that is the biggest selling point. That is what people are going to go see the movie for, is what the Backrooms look like. And they do this extremely well. They, in fact, even built a whole warehouse so that they can make these actual Backrooms in real life. So that way, when you're watching the movie, it feels tangible. It feels like this place is real because, in a sense, it actually is. The coolest parts of the movie is that they make the environment feel like you're actually in the Backrooms. And they do this really well with the camera angles. They do this really well with the found footage aspect, where you actually have this handheld VHS camera that's moving around that just makes it feel a little more Blair Witch Project, where it's like, okay, this feels a little more uneasy. But the way the Backrooms operates, and they explain it kind of in the movie or even in the trailer, is that the more the Backrooms remembers, the more it doesn't. So that's why when you're looking in the Backrooms, there's these things that are halfway phased through the walls. There's just like things feel uneasy, words aren't spelled right. There's like pool rooms, there's more rooms this way and that way. And so the Backrooms just continues to expand infinitely. And it seems like it's taking memories from people and just building upon that, but making things feel uneasy, which is the whole grasp of like the anxiety and tension that we feel watching the Backrooms. So the environment itself, incredible. The acting also really, really good. Now the plot's pretty decent. I mean, it's really only two characters, Clark and his therapist, and they talk about like Clark is struggling with a lot of things, and he's actually the owner of this furniture store, Cat and Clark's Ottoman Empire, and that's where in the basement he finds kind of this hole through the Backrooms. And so the movie is just showing him discovering more about this, but also we see him kind of turn a certain way. He's a very selfish guy, but once he's in the Backrooms, it's like a lot of that selfishness just kind of grows. And you see the therapist trying to help him out with certain things. Then it gets to part of Backrooms lore is that there are these things behind the walls. There's these entities that are all over the place. And then there's an entity in this Backrooms that who knows what happens, but becomes something that is adjacent to Clark in a sense. And so, like the whole movie, you're just wondering what is this entity about and what's it going to turn into? What's it going to show up as? And I thought they did that pretty decently. Now, what I love about Backrooms lore and what they don't really show as well in this movie, and it's not really spoilers because the trailers kind of show it and there's pictures of this going out, but there's like a pirate form of Clark. They show this entity as this big, huge version of Clark. And for me, fine. I just don't like movies where you see the bad guy. I want to be able to be so immersed into this space where I don't know what this entity is. Maybe I see the shadow, or maybe I see it run quickly, or it's throwing a chair, because it allows your mind and your mind space to kind of connect the dots and make your own imagination, which I think is super fun. And that I think adds more anxiety because you're trying to figure out what this entity is. Even still, it was a great like bad guy that they introduced. So the whole movie is just kind of about what's going on with Clark and what's going on in the Backrooms. So I enjoy that piece of it, but I will say the best part of the movie by far is the environment, the Backrooms itself, the atmosphere. So if you want to go see something like that and be immersed into something, I would say that is the biggest selling point for this movie. And it's also a good movie that asks a lot of questions that they've already been approved for a sequel. And I'm hoping these questions get answered. Just things with Clark, things with Async, which is a research facility that is sort of adjacent to the Backrooms, and they're trying to figure out some things. There's also like, will the Backrooms continue to expand? Is it taking memories from people? Is it different for everyone who goes in there? So many questions that leaves you unanswered, which I think is a great feeling that a movie can do that helps you be curious and wanting to go see the next one whenever it comes out. So All that to say, I think the Backrooms is good to see. Just make sure you don't get lost in there.